Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now the beginning of June of 2023, and with, of course, a lot of Star Wars projects now in development, we have things like Ahsoka Season 2 and Mando Season 4, which, by the way, we're going to be getting into that as well, about what Jon Favreau had to say about a lot of things related to the overall mandoverse. But there's a lot of things coming our way by this year's D23 event, which takes place in September, that's going to set up the full slate of the Star Wars franchise by Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And without further ado, let's get right into exactly what's going on here with Jon Favreau. Now, as you all know, Favreau is a very passionately driven creator and fan of the Star Wars universe. That's exactly why Mando Season 2 resonates so very well with the fans, because at that time he had a lot of creative power. And there was a moment where Kathleen Kennedy wasn't really intruding all that much. She did intrude a lot with Season 3, which is why the story fell flat and why it was so out of place, and thankfully, Season 4 is going to exclude Kathleen Kennedy, but, of course, there's always some kind of issue going on with the overall structure of the film industry right now, and what's going on with the Star Wars franchise, and what Jon recently had to say may very well come across as bad news for a lot of fans out there, so let's get right into it. Now, with Jon Favreau recently promoting the Ahsoka series with Dave Filoni, he recently had to deliver some bad news to the entire Star Wars fandom, and made a big confession following that. So he states, "What we have been planning for Mandalorian Season 4 has been extremely significant, and given that we are getting ready to bring on new talented directors on board to help us with this installment in the near future, one thing I do want to confess about and own up to is that with a great story we need to take our time with this one. I will be completely revising the script and story for the 4th installment when I get the chance to do that, as we restructure the story to fit the fans' needs. But between the writer's strike and the rewrites we have planned, we don't expect to release this season in 2024, let alone early 2025. So maybe we will be aiming for the middle of that year perhaps, depending on how much work needs to be done. We want to make this a good one. We are upping our budget for this one and are going all out to make sure that we bring back legends in all their glory for the fans." Now let me stop here quickly for 1 second. So, this is my major concern, alright, is whether or not fans are going to lose interest for strictly The Mandalorian as a series. Now look, we have a lot of things that are going to be coming out in between then. I realize that. We got Ahsoka coming out this August, and then following that, you're going to have other shows as well throughout 2024. One of which, by the way, I'm not all that, looking up to, is The Acolyte by Kathleen Kennedy. That's the one big project that I think is going to taint the Star Wars slate of 2024. But everything besides that, we have a lot of things coming at D23 that's going to set up that 2024 slate as well. So, with that being said, alright, given that Favreau is putting it out there that don't expect Mando Season 4 until at least toward the middle of 2025, the latest. So 2024 is out of the question. And that's really sad to say the least, because this writer's strike is taking a big impact on things. The rewrites for Mando 4, hey, I'm all for that as well. That's a part of the good news in my opinion, but it also creates a very big delay. Alright, so we got the next half of 2023 to go through, and all of next year, and then we have to wait some months into 2025 just to get Mando Season 4. That's a very long time, if you guys ask me. And look, what happened with Mando Season 3, we waited 2 whole years that led us to having a very big disappointment because of what Kathleen Kennedy did to the story. As long as they set it up to be a very good story, I think it will be worth the wait, but it's very unfortunate that it's going to take so long. So Favreau goes on to elaborate further. But this is going to take a very long time, and we just hope fans stick around and remain patient for us as we develop the 4th season. I will admit that we have a great plan to essentially reset the story in a sense of going back to the basics of George's vision, something we wanted to do with Season 3. With 4, we are starting from the ground up and reaching toward bigger and better surprises and reveals in the coming story that will take fans by surprise. Now, separate from what Favreau stated here, this all alludes to plans of them also expanding the season to 10 to 12 episodes, and making each episode longer. Mixed in with the writer's strike and the rewrites, Season 4 won't debut until a couple months in to the 2025 year. So again, that plays a big role too, the fact that they want to make Season 4 a longer season, but not just a longer season, they also want to make each episode running time longer, essentially. And that, I gotta say, I have to admit, that's gonna take a lot of time and effort. If you guys look at how long it takes to make a show like Andor, for example, that's exactly why. There's a lot more episodes, the episodes are somewhat on the longer end of things, and it's not just that, but Andor has a lot more stationary shots, and so it doesn't take quite as near as much time as what, for example, Mando 4 would be like, so that's going to take a lot of effort on their end. The fact that they are upping the budget, they're going to make sure that this is going to be a very cinematic series, in a sense. It really just goes to show you that Jon and Dave are really trying to restructure this thing. So look, I'm all for the wait, but it's very sad to hear that we're not getting this thing next year at all. So next year so far, officially, we have Acolyte and Andor Season 2, and then we are going to be getting 2 other TV shows that will be released in that year. That's going to be announced, by the way, at D23. We got a couple more months to go until Disney makes that announcement. It could very well have something big to do with Project Bluepoint, perhaps. We've talked about this before. But looking at everything about what Jon Favreau is setting up here is that, yeah, he is also confessing the fact that he's rewriting the story, he's revising the entire script to ensure that this really is going to be a story that's worked from the ground up, and how it's going to take a very long time to build that. And look, at the end of the day, I mean, look, we got Ahsoka Season 1 coming out this August, which, by the way, Dave Filoni even said that he is very optimistic, very confident that it's going to be a big hit for hardcore fans. Like, if you love the mythology, the dark side, the light, good and evil, he said you're absolutely going to love this story. And even the Disney executives, are very much optimistic about this too, which is a good sign in my opinion, because we know that they're not having good feelings about Acolyte or Skeleton Crew or even Indy 5 for that matter. So, to have Ahsoka as the potential light at the end of the tunnel here is really refreshing and reassuring, to say the least. So again, guys, I mean, Jon Favreau putting it out there once again that it's really all about cleaning up Kathleen Kennedy's mess, essentially. She really wrecked Season 3. And even Jon and Dave opened up about this, that, yeah, it was out of their hands. This story was not really fully in their control. We talked about this yesterday, about what Jon said. And it's sad that that's what happened to them, because it was a common misconception that she wasn't involved. She wasn't involved during filming, but yes, she was while they were writing the script. So overall, guys, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
Night to move.